Day 1145 of the Ukrainian War Map, also known as the Russo-Ukrainian War. Juzzie here, and today is another update as I take a simplified and down-to-earth approach to some of the most important happenings on the ground in Ukraine. So starting off, we'll take a look at those Russian losses, as currently Russia sits on more than 932,000 military personnel losses, representing an additional 1,220 in the past day. Then as for hardware losses, 12 tanks, 33 APVs, 71 artillery, and 1 air defense system. Now headed directly to the Russian map as a significant fire erupted near the Engels 2 airbase in Saratov, a location that is home to Russia's strategic long-range strike aircraft. According to local officials, fuel oil suddenly caught fire, providing no further explanation, and although details remain scarce for this incident, it's likely no coincidence that there was a significant coordinated drone offensive launched from Ukraine overnight and earlier in the weekend. Which leads us to Krasnodar, because over the weekend Ukrainian UAVs struck and damaged the Vasyrenskaya railway station, temporarily halting rail traffic along an important G-lock used to transport military equipment to the occupied regions of Ukraine. It also marks the first known Ukrainian attack on this section of the railway network within Russia. Then on the map, into the curious case of a powerful explosion that rocked Orenburg this morning, erupting near the Sakhmskaya CHPP combined heat and power plant. Russian authorities dismissed any link to a UAV attack, citing a short circuit at the transformer substation. Most likely, the potential exists here for some sort of internal sabotage event. Also noting that the Orenburg region houses vital military and industrial assets, it always has, so any sort of disruption could significantly impact these types of military operations for the Russian SMO. Then on the map and to the real belly of the beast, because Kremlin police have once again descended in full force, conducting raids on Russia's most populous city, Moscow. This latest operation targeted a local bathhouse, where authorities sought to round up additional conscripts for their beloved SMO. Patrons at this address were merely hoping for a peaceful steam bath session, but instead found themselves facing potential coercion into a one-way trip to the front lines. Moscow's aggressive recruitment drive continues unabated. Next on the map, and in a slight change of pace, up in Arkhangelsk, because an unknown individual torched 4 cars linked to officials of Putin's United Russia political party. Eyewitnesses also reported destruction of a local police station. This location has long been one of the Russian regions where locals consistently voice their grievances about the lack of funding for essential infrastructure projects that promote economic growth. Instead, residents repeatedly report that their local taxes meant for vital development are either vanishing due to corruption or are funneled into the Russian war efforts. Perhaps a taste of things to come for many, if not most, other Russian federal subjects. Then headed into the Ukrainian map, where somewhere inside of Donetsk, Atesh partisans ignited a Russian tank. As per their own words, quote, "When the occupiers were drinking, we struck." The blaze consumed the vehicle, and the Atesh agents remain safe and are off to a new mission. Headed to the Toretsk direction, where more Russian Storm civilian vehicles were seen, then repelled, all as part of what you might call Lanchester's law of attritional decay, which essentially means that their armored hardware numbers are steadily decreasing over time due to consistent losses in combat, thereby seeing Russia's increasing pivot towards usage of civilian Buhanka Scooby-Doo vans and various other civilian cars to storm those positions with. At some point, this will surely become the mainstay of the Russian army, but not quite yet. Nonetheless, these types of zergling rush tactics are now far from a one-off isolated event, which are a part of their continued efforts to keep the pressure on, but doing so in a manner that is becoming progressively less effective in combat. Then slightly further north on the same front, we did see a more standardized level of armor from Russia, I mean, if you can call it that, because AFU aerial recon scouts detected 3 metallic monstrosities inbound, with all 3 in close proximity to one another, only to find themselves taken out by a combination of about 4 to 6 FPV drones and a small number of drone-dropped munitions as well. This small and tight armoured column included a Shaggy Dog BMP mine roller at the front, another BMP in the middle, and a tank of some description at the end. With that tank shed problematically including a peekaboo window big enough to fit a quadcopter through, aiding to create something of a pressure cooker environment. And on this topic, as part of a big day of Russian armoured vehicle losses somewhere in the east, we saw more hardware struck as the Ukrainian military from the 3rd Assault Brigade destroyed a large series of armoured targets in both Donetsk and the Luhansk directions. Then, somewhere in the skies, operators of the AFU's Horizon Group of the 81st Airmobile Brigade took down a Merlin VR and 2 Orlan recon drones, with the crash of 1 Orlan confirmed. And why only 1 Orlan confirmed? In this instance, the other 2 didn't include a third-party recon drone to witness those events, that's all, although given the bullseye targeting seen milliseconds prior to impact, the impending detonation and shrapnel spread almost certainly took out those other 2. With both examples just before impact getting really close to the drones, one consciously targeted the front propeller. As for the final drone, the Merlin VR, a Ukrainian interceptor drone got so close that you can read the 85 BP inscription on the inner left wing, possibly referring to their 85th Combat Reconnaissance Unit. But it's a pricey asset for Russia, with the Merlin VR recon drones costing anywhere between $300,000 to $500,000 per unit, depending on the variant. They are not cheap, and they are not seen often. Also, somewhere on the map, and really somewhere in the skies, but this time far away at training grounds, as we saw the footage of a different type of Ukrainian single-barrel, shotgun-equipped interceptor drone, with operators training to destroy enemy drones. As can be seen, the pellet spread on this example can be seen working like a charm. Amazing innovation. Then to some news, and to perhaps the biggest news of the day, because Russian and Ukrainian officials are reportedly set to meet in Ankara, the Turkish capital, on April 15 and 16 to discuss Black Sea security, as announced by Turkey's Ministry of National Defense. Now, the last time that Ukraine and Russia held direct bilateral talks was at the start of the SMO, also occurring in Turkey, but of course those talks yielded no significant progress, to say the least. So it remains to be seen what happens at this event in the upcoming days, although best for one to temper their expectations, as it has been somewhat well established at this point that Moscow talks peace with one hand, but reloads with the other. Then to some more news, where recent diplomatic talks show Russia using bilateral discussions with the United States regarding Ukraine, with critics suggesting these discussions serve more as a delaying tactic rather than genuine peace initiatives. Meanwhile, President Trump suggested that peace talks are going well, and that the public will be, quote, finding out pretty soon. Despite these apparent diplomatic overtures, President Trump recently signed an executive order extending the Biden-era Russian sanctions for another 12 months, citing Moscow's unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States. Then to a quick Russian hardware news segment, because seen here, so Russian manufacturer TechCrim announced the mass production of double bullet 7.62 by 54mm cartridges for their PKM machine guns, designed to boost fire density against drones by firing 2 bullets per round instead of 1. Although this comes at a cost of a 4-fold decrease in accuracy and a limited effective range of 250 meters, so as per the manufacturer. So there you have it. 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. However, potentially even worse than that, because the original standard single bullet configuration has an effective range of far greater at about 1000 meters to the 250 specification seen here. Therefore, overall, Russia gains a theoretical boost in firepower, but loses heavily in precision, potentially undermining the overall effectiveness against drones compared to more accurate anti-drone systems. Then headed across to a super quick funny to round off the video today, and a bit of a speculative one as well, as Belarusian dictator Lukashenko, aka Uncle Luka, has recently announced that his country would bring in approximately 150,000 Pakistanis to work in various industries to address labour shortages. So that's interesting, as various industries could include the military somehow, but also, since Russian police are seen scouring even bathhouses these days for additional SMO participants now, I'm sure that the special military operation could be considered as having something of a labour shortage as well. It's a speculative guess, just putting two and two together here, that's all. But stranger things have happened, so let's see how this one pans out soon. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks again for watching. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks once again for all of the support, and I do hope to see all of you guys there in the next one. Cheers!